Hello, friends at home. Hello, friends in the classroom. We are getting ready to do math today. And today we are going to be working on addition. We are still going to be working on bringing two numbers together to get a sum or a total. But if you look here on the screen, we are going to start using some terms that you may or may not have heard before. And the terms that I'm talking about, or the words that I'm talking about, are part, and whole. Can you say that with me? Part, whole. So in this little demonstration that I made here, I'm going to show you what part, whole means. So then when we start our lesson in our math book today and they talk about part, whole, you'll be like, okay, I get it. Mrs. Bragg totally explained that to me, okay? So if you look at this picture, it's a picture of my flower garden. Isn't it lovely? And my whole garden here has lots of flowers in it, doesn't it? This is my whole garden. But if I look at the different parts of my garden, I see that I have some of these purple flowers, or some might call it a deep blue. And I have some yellow flowers. All together, they make up my whole garden. So if we were to count the first part of my garden, the purplish blue flowers, let's figure out how many we'd have. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. So up here where it says part, my first part that I'm talking about, I'm going to put 4. The first part of my garden are the blue flowers, and there are 4 of them. That means that the other part of my garden would be these yellow flowers. So let's count the yellow flowers together. 1, 2, 3. So up here for the other part, I'm going to say 3. So the two parts of my garden, there are 4 purplish blue flowers and 3 yellow flowers. Now, all together in my whole garden, let's count how many flowers there are. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So my whole garden has 7 flowers. If I break it into 2 parts, I have 4 purplish blue and 3 yellow. Together they make 7. So my part, whole is 4, 3, and 7. If I wanted to write that over here in a math sentence, an addition equation, I would write it like this. 4, for the blue flowers, plus 3 for my yellow flowers equals the total amount of flowers in my garden, which is, everyone? 7. So for this garden, part, whole is 4, 3, and 7. Thumbs up if you're like, okay, I kind of get that. Awesome. Let's try another one, okay? This time we're looking at a tree that's near my garden. And the tree has lots of birds in it, doesn't it? My whole tree is filled with birds, but I see 2 different colors of birds. Do you see that? Yeah. So let's count the blue birds first and see how many blue birds are there in my tree. Let's count together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. So the first part of this equation, the first part would be 3. There are 3 bluebirds in my tree. Let's count the other color of birds and see how many there are. Ready? Count with me. 1, 2, 3. So the other part of this equation is a 3. So I have 3 bluebirds and 3 redbirds. Now let's count how many birds are in the whole tree. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my whole tree has 6 3 would be part, part, whole. Or if I were to write that as an equation, 3 plus 3 equals my sum, which is 6. Excellent. Thumbs up if you get it even better now. Awesome, because we're going to do one more of these together just to make sure before we start today's workbook lesson, okay? So now we're looking at the pond that's near the back of my yard, close to my garden and my tree. And I have some little creatures swimming in my pond. I have some frogs and I have some fish. Let's count how many frogs there are in my pond. Okay, let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I feel like some of you were just blurting the answer. You weren't counting with me. So let's try it one more time together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the first part of my pond has 6 critters, or in this case, frogs. Now let's count the other part. How many fish are swimming in my pond? Ready? Count with me. 1. Oh, that was easy. So the other part of my pond is 1. So I have 2 parts, but in my whole pond, let's see how many creatures there are. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So up here, all together, I have 7 critters as my whole amount of critters or creatures in my pond. Part, part, whole. If I were to write that as an addition sentence, I would write it like this. 6 frogs plus 1 fish equals 7 creatures in my pond altogether. Part, part, whole. Part, part, whole. So now when you're working on your homework this week and your parents say, what is this part, part, whole nonsense? I've never heard of that before. You'll be able to tell them, oh, it's very easy. Let me show you. Okay? So now we are going to transition into our math books. Okay? All right, so our friends in the classroom have opened up to page 11. If you have not gotten to page 11 yet at home, go ahead and pause the video, open to page 11, and then we will begin. So on the top of page 11, it says, Jacob sees 3 horses walking. I'm going to write down the number 3. You can circle the number 3 in your book. Jacob sees 3 horses walking. Then it says he sees 4 horses eating. So I'm going to put a 4 here to show 4 horses eating. It says, how many horses does Jacob see in all? Use an addition fact to find the number that Jacob sees in all. So remember, the addition fact shows the parts and the whole. So if I were to draw that box that we were just working on up on the big screen, and I put my 2 parts, which would be 3 and 4, this number up here would be the total or the whole amount. So if I were to say 3 plus 4, I have to figure out how many that would be. And over here they drew out 1, 2, 3, plus 1, 2, 3, 4. So boys and girls, let's count those 2 parts and figure out how many dots there are all together. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dominic and Emma, I'm confused why you're in the back of the room talking when we're up at the front of the room doing a math lesson. I need you paying attention, okay? All right, so if you had been paying attention, you'd have heard we just counted up 3 and 4 and we got 7 for our whole. Kind of like the flowers in my garden. Remember, I had 4 bluish purplish flowers and I had 3 yellow flowers, and altogether there were 7 in my garden. Same idea. So now we know that Jacob sees 7 horses in all. So let's go down to the practice pages now. Okay, and it says here, Find the whole. So match the addition facts to the correct number of dots. So we're going to be drawing lines to match up. And the first one they've done for you. So the first one they said it had 6 plus 2 equals, and they told us 8. So you can trace the 8. And then if you look at this domino, or this 2 parts, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, which all together make 8. So you can trace that line. Okay? The next one, number 2 says 1 plus 6. So if I were to draw that in 2 parts, I would have 1, and then I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is there a domino that looks like that on our page? Which one, Emily? The last one right here, 1 plus 6. And how many altogether is that, Emily? 7. So you can write a number 7, and then you can draw a line to connect from 1 plus 6 equals 7 down to the domino that shows 1 plus 6 equals 7. All right, let's try the next one now. It says some number, we don't know the whole, but some number equals 2 plus 5. So our parts are 2 and 5. So if I were to draw that out, one part will have 2, and the other part will have 5. How many is that all together? First of all, do I see a domino that matches this one? I sure do right there, right? So we can draw a line from number 3 to that first domino. And now Seraphina's going to tell us how many dots are on that domino all together. How many are in the whole? Count them up for us. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good job, sweetheart. So you can put on your line a 7 and then draw the long line to connect. 7 equals 2 plus 5 all the way down here to our part whole where we have 1 part, 2 part, and all together 7. Okay? Now if we turn the page, friends, and we go to the top of the next page, now you get to draw in some dots to show the parts and the whole. So number 4 has 7 plus 1 equals, and they told us 8. And then they have their domino there where it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dots. And then they drew in 1 to show 7 plus 1 equals all together 8. Okay? So let's look at number 5. It has 4 plus 4, and then we have our empty domino. What are my 2 parts, Isaac? What are my 2 parts in this addition sentence?
8.
Oh, that's my total, that's my whole, but what are my 2 parts? 4 and 4. So let's draw 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Jacob counted up all the dots and told us that the total was what? I'm sorry, Isaac, the total was what? The whole? 8. Good job. Okay, so the sum, or the whole, is 8. Let's try number 6. 0 plus 7. So here's your domino. Everybody see their domino? How many dots are we going to draw in the top part?
7.
How many in the top part?
0.
0. Everybody say 0. How many in the bottom part? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Lily, how many are there all together? 7. Excellent. Friends at home, I am going to stop recording the video here, and I will do a second video with a little more detail for you. Friends, in the classroom, we are going to continue finishing up the next few problems, okay? So boys and girls at home,